Sorry about that. Was gaining control of my iPhone. Very important. Very important. Good morning, everyone. That's what you guys say it back. I say good morning. You guys say good morning. We'll try it again. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hey guys, how you doing? Again, I'm Steve Washington. I consider myself, I hope you guys aren't looking up to me too high. It's like, oh, you got honored at that White House, one of the top 100 entrepreneurs. When I came here today and I'm looking at you guys wearing like flip-flops and stuff like that, I'm like, man, I wish I could have worn my flip-flops today, but I don't think it would have worked out too well. I'm not sure if the dean would have been too pleased, so I put my standard shoes on. Just by way of a little bit of a funny, I'm an entrepreneur, but I specialize in telling jokes, not professionally, but I just like to clown around. And a funny thing happened to me this morning. I just moved from my residence in Philadelphia out into Montgomery County, and so we're living like darn near out of boxes and everything. So I said, okay, I got my suit together, got my shirt together, and my tie together. One thing I didn't have together was my shoes. So if anybody sees me wearing black shoes and a brown suit, it's because I'm living outside of the box. So again, good morning to everyone. So happy to be here today. Not to, for you guys to say, look, he's up here and I'm down there. I'll tell you a little bit about my story and how I got started. Does anybody live, by show of hands, or have ever lived on South Campus? South Campus? Okay, great. I lived in 172A. You guys need to walk past that door and like polish it up or something. That's where I lived. That's where my entrepreneurship experience started. It started here, right at Westchester. I was going to class just like you guys. I was trying to get through Dr. Benzin's finals and the whole nine and struggling. And I said to myself, you know what, I really want to start a business. I want to do something to, have control over my own finances, control over my own money, control over my own situation. And started actually a little bit before that. I had an internship right before I came to Westchester. I came to Westchester as a transfer student, and I had an internship at Johnson & Johnson. It was actually through one of their subsidiaries, McNeil Pharmaceuticals. And McNeil, for many of you who don't know, they make like Tylenol, Motrin, all those kind of things. And I had an internship there. And in my mind, in the back of my mind, I knew that I wanted to start a business, that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I mean, I think, especially in this day and age, it's so promoted when you see all these young, successful people doing it. I knew it was something I wanted to do. And so I worked for McNeil Pharmaceuticals as like a junior financial accountant or something. And I hated it. It was just horrible. It was very unpleasant. It was very corporate. It was very, I wish I could say it was 9 to 5, but it was like 9 till whenever your supervisors left. Oftentimes being 7 or even 8, and I'm just an intern. And I can remember clearly the day I walked out of the building. I had one of the staff that had been working at McNeil for about 25 years, or about 25 years, and we were walking out of the building together, and she said, so what do you think? How was your experience? And, I didn't want to be totally honest, so I said, well, it's okay. It was pretty good. I'm trying to figure out how I can fluff and not sound horrible at the same time. And she said, you didn't really like it, did you? I said, not really. And she said, well, one thing that doing this internship will do for you, it'll either tell you what you want to do, or it'll tell you what you don't want to do. And I clearly remember those words. I mean, it was over 10 years ago, but I clearly remember those words, remember her saying that to me. And once I got here to Westchester, I said to myself, you know what, I have to figure out how I can start a business, how I can, make my own money, be in control of my own future, and so forth. So, got here to Westchester. First thing that I did is I said, okay, well, I need to earn money while I'm here. So I got a job at the cafeteria. And I was working at, do they still have the little hoagie stand on the side, right in the student union building? Yes, no? Okay. I was one of those guys. And I made some of the best hoagies that you can ever make here in Westchester. It probably goes down in history. And I was working there, and I was making at the time, I hope they upped the pay, but I think I was making about $6.50 an hour. And it was a very humbling experience because here I was just working at McNeil Pharmaceuticals, about 2 months shy, and making $16 or $17.50 an hour, which was, you know, I'm like 19 years old. It's great money. And then now I'm at the, you know, dressing in suits and professional and the whole nine, and now I'm working at the side calf making hoagies for about a $10, $11 pay cut. And I said, okay, this isn't gonna work. And I just crunched down, said I'm gonna have to figure it out. So my story was, all right, at the time eBay was just kind of coming on the scene. It was there, but it was just really coming on the scene. And I said, you know what, I wanna start selling clothes or I'm sorry, I'm ruining the story. I wanna start selling something on eBay. So I started seeing people selling televisions and flat screen TVs. That's when they were just kind of coming out. People were selling just anything, computers, widgets, gadgets, anything and everything. And I said to myself, okay, well, I want to start selling anything. So I looked around, and I saw people were selling Ralph Lauren polo shirts. And anybody familiar with Ralph Lauren polo shirts? Warm up, guys. This is okay. This isn't class. You're not getting like, you know, a test on this. And I said to myself, okay, I want to start selling Ralph Lauren polo shirts. And so I saw people, they were selling on eBay for maybe about $40, $38, things like that. I said, okay, well, first thing I need to do is find out how I can get these shirts at wholesale so that I can sell them. And I looked around on the internet, jumped on Google, did my research, and I saw that I was able to buy lots of 200 and 300 of these shirts at one time, and I could pay about anywhere between about $20 and $21. So I'm saying to myself, okay, if I buy for $20 or $21, then I sell them for $40, that's a good day. Would anybody agree that that's a good day? It's a good day. All right, great, we're here. And so something in me just said, you know what? Keep digging a little bit deeper. Let's see if you can find a little cheaper. And so I said, okay. So I did my research, jumped on Google more, called all over the country, calling wholesalers in Texas, wholesalers in California, New York, everywhere. I'm driving back and forth up to New York in between classes and things like that. And I started seeing the price drop slightly. So it's dropping from $20 to maybe about $19 or $18. Now when we're talking about wholesale, because I'm buying 200 and 300 of these at one time, $2 is a lot of money. $2 at 300 shirts, like $600. And so I said, all right, that's pretty good, but I just feel like maybe I can find it cheaper somewhere, because I'm thinking to myself, somehow these guys are buying these shirts at wholesale. I don't know how they're doing it, but somehow they're getting it cheap, and they're, I'm sure, making money. So I started digging. Then finally I felt myself digging so deep that I landed a partner in India. And I'm called in India from my cell phone. I had to call Sprint, and I said, look, you know, I don't know how this international plan works, but I guess I need one. And they give me an international plan. I'm calling over to India, and they're like, yeah, we can sell the shirts, no problem. I said, great, you know, how much? I almost wanted to tell them, like, look, you know, I'm paying about $19 or $20 here in the US. I guess you guys may be a little bit cheaper. And he said, yeah, no problem. I said, how much? He said, $8. I said, is that $8 per shirt? Is that for the button? I'm like, what do you mean $8? I'm paying $18 or $19 here. What do you mean $8? He said, no, it's $8. We get them directly from the manufacturer. And I'm like, really? That's interesting. And so I said, okay, well, look, send me over a sample. So he sent me over a sample of 10 shirts. So I'm saying to myself, because it's taken maybe about 7 days to get here, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get these shirts. They're going to be like counterfeits or knockoffs or something. I'm going to get these shirts, and you know, they're going to be just really bad material, what have you. So I get the shirts. I'm like, wow, it's a very nice looking $8 shirts. Like, I mean, this is good stuff. And then a light bulb goes off in my head, and I'm saying to myself, well, if I was going to buy them for $20, sell them for $40, I can totally skip the retail side of it completely, and now I can just buy them for $7 and $8 and just sell them to all the other guys who want to sell on eBay and sell in their, you know, clothing store and so forth. And that's what I did. Now, granted, remind you, I'm in school. I'm like you guys. I'm coming to stuff like this. You know, I'm handing them reports and so forth. And But I'm like, you know what, this is an opportunity that I have right here in front of me. And so I told my supplier that I had in India, I said, look, I just told him straight out. I said, look, I'm in college. I said, I'm about 19, 20 years old. I don't have a whole lot of money. Saved up as much money as I could for my internship. I was making good money there. But I live in a dorm, have a roommate, he stinks. I'm just regular Joe. I just want to let you know this up front. Business is going to be honest, to be open. Just let them know. I said, look, I know that you probably sell to people who buy 10,000 of these shirts and truckloads and container loads. I said, I'm not that guy. I said, all I can buy is maybe 100, 100, maybe 200 shirts a month. It's probably about it. He said, Stephen, no problem. I'll work with you. We'll work something out. I said, okay, great. So I get on the internet. I'm creating, sales pages, websites, the whole nine, saying, look, hey, I'm a shirt guy. I got cheap Ralph Lauren polo shirts. Buy from me. I sell to you at the best price. I'm seeing that everybody else is selling their shirts for $18, $19, and $20. And I'm saying, look, if I can sell 100 of these shirts, I don't need to make that much profit. Sure, I would like to, but in order for me to get in the business and not have people ask me about where's my warehouse space and all these things, like I said, again, I'm working right out of my dorm room. I say, well, I'll sell mine for maybe $13 or $14. So, month one goes by, we sell maybe about 100, 200 shirts. It's a good month. If I'm in it for $8, selling for about $13 or $14, make anywhere between $600 and $1,200 for the month. Sure beats the cafe, and it was a good thing. Then I keep marketing, keep pushing that on the internet. I'm actually calling, I'm calling golf courses and I'm telling them about the culinary pro shops, telling them about the shirts that I have. I'm getting inquiries from people calling me at like 2 and 3 in the morning. I'm like, what the heck is this? And this guy's calling me from Germany about these shirts. I'm like, man, I might really have something interesting here. So month one, again, we're doing maybe 100, 200 shirts, making $600, $1,200. Month two rolls around, we're doing a little bit more. By month three, I just said, let's just go all in. If I want to do it, might as well just go all in. And now I'm advertising anywhere, everywhere. Alibaba.com, that's a reference to you guys. If any of you are ever interested in the import-export business, that's a good source. He's smiling, I think he might know something about it. Alibaba.com is one place, exporters.com, there's a lot of different sites. I'm just advertising anywhere and everywhere. And now, things change drastically. So I go from selling maybe 100, 200, or 300 shirts at a time, to now I'm getting orders from just individual orders for 5,000 shirts, 6,000 shirts, 10,000 shirts. And that's a little interesting when you start multiplying. Is there any business people in the room? When you multiply 4,000 and 5,000 times a $6 spread. And long and short, it got real interesting really quickly to the point where I was netting anywhere between $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month from 172A. See, I told you guys to go by and polish the door. Now you understand why. From 172A. I mean, I'm the same guy. Now, granted, I didn't get into my background with you guys. I'm the same guy. I grew up in West Philadelphia, like Will Smith, and he talked about getting beat up on the playground. Like that's real. That happened. I mean, I grew up in the inner city. Grew up in a really bad community. We had one thing I always say is we weren't rich in money, but we were rich in love. So when I got home, if I could just make it to the door, everything was all good. My mom was there. She was great. I grew up with my sister. It was awesome. But growing up in the inner city of Philadelphia, it's no joke. I've been in situations where probably as close as this camera is to me, I've seen people get shot, seen people get killed, have friends go to jail, all kinds of not the nicest things in the world to have happen, and for an adolescent to experience. So I went from that to now I'm in my dorm room, just going through class, going through the day-to-day. I'm driving a Saturn station wagon. I mean, it was like the ugliest thing ever. I'm like the same size, the same height some of this big guy trying to squeeze into just like a Saturday station wagon, 1995 Saturday station wagon. But now I'm making $20,000, $30,000 a month. And I'm trying to figure out, I mean, me and my roommates, we're close, we're good friends, and they're like, dude, what the heck is going on? Like, you have these people calling all times of the night, you're always on your computer, like, what's going on? And I'm trying to ultimately hide my success from them. Not because of any reason short of, it's kind of embarrassing. It was a very awkward moment to go from, we're just peers, we're on the same page, we're buddies, we go to the mall together, to, I can't really hang out that much because this guy's trying to wire me $20,000 and I have to figure out a way to accept this wire. And it's a very life-changing experience for me. And I did that for probably about a year. And I actually met my supplier from India, who I was working with. We met in Las Vegas. I was actually late for Dr. Benson's class on the first day because I was out in Vegas, and fortunately she forgave me. And I met my supplier while I was out there, and we're having a great time. He flew in from India, we're talking to everybody. At this point, I'm a few months in, so I'll be honest, at this point I'm a little bit of a big shot. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, man, just college kid, I'm making money. And we get out there, and I meet some people from Overstock.com. And they say to me, man, you're doing great. I said, yeah, thank you. I'm trying my best. He said, yeah, I got started in business. I'm talking to one of the owners from Overstock.com. He's like, yeah, I got in business just like you. I was young. He actually got into business because he was, it's a funny story, I'll shorten it, but he was traveling back and forth with some rock band, all overseas to Asia, to Africa, Europe, all kinds of different countries. And he said that when they would be in the airport leaving, on their way out, they would have people running up to them saying, Levi's jeans, we want to buy your Levi's jeans. And he said to himself, like, why the heck would I want, why do you want my Levi's jeans for starters? What am I going to wear? And why are you interested in my old, dirty Levi's jeans? And then he will pull out American money, like $20, $30, $40, $50, which, this was many, many years ago. That's a lot of money. I'd probably give somebody $50 for my jeans too. But this was a long time ago, and he said he essentially found an opportunity selling used Levi's jeans to overseas and third world countries. But long and short is he said, yeah, man, what you're doing is great, and you're making great money, and Vinny's told me so much about you. He said, but you have to be careful, right? And I said, well, what do you mean? I said, I am being careful, like, count my money, and make sure everything, my shipments are good, everybody's happy, my clients are happy, they're making money, I'm making money. What's to be careful about? And he said, well, no, you have to be careful, right? And I'm like, trying not to get agitated with this guy, because, he's executive, all those things. I'm like, be careful for what? What am I doing wrong? And he's like, well, what you're doing is a little bit gray. He said, we do it too, but, we can do it a little bit different. We're a bigger company and so forth, but what you're doing, it's a little bit gray. I said, well, you have to explain this to me. So he explained it to me. He said, well, the way that you purchase your clothing from Vinny, my contact from India, he said, Vinny doesn't work for Ralph Lauren. Let me explain to you guys the way the manufacturing world works. It works like this. Anybody here have a Gap shirt on? Gap by chance? My man over there, he has a Gap shirt on. So what happens is Gap really isn't a manufacturer. They're more of just a marketing company. They're a marketing and a fashion company, but they're not really a manufacturing company. So what Gap does is they'll develop that shirt somewhere in probably Beverly Hills or something like that. They'll have a whole big team. They'll develop the shirt, develop the kind of materials they're going to use, how it's going to cut, the whole nine. They'll do all of that, and then I'll write out the specifications of this is how it's made, this is how it's done, we want it using this exact material, these colors, so forth. And then they'll hold an auction over in these foreign countries, India, China, Sri Lanka, and so forth. And they'll say, okay, look, this is a shirt we want to make. These are the specifications we want to make under. And whoever does it for the best price and the best terms, will go with you. So what happens is a company like the company I was dealing with in India, they won the bid. And now they're a supplier of Ralph Lauren polo shirts. And long and short of it is Macy's. Anybody familiar with Macy's? Macy's will, for example, say, look, we want to order 100,000 polo shirts. Ralph Lauren will say, no problem. Call his contacts over in India. Say, look, we need to make an order for Macy's. Let's make it. The manufacturer says, okay, great. Because we know that there's always wastage, because we know, they might make some of the shirts wrong, some of the buttons might be jacked up or whatever the case is, we will make 110,000 of these shirts because we know that we need 100,000 to send to Macy's, and we need some extras because they're going to be, wastage. They're going to go, the buttons are going to be wrong, the collar's going to be crooked, whatever the case is. So, the 100,000 order, they send to Macy's, and they have 10,000 left. Out of those 10,000, maybe 3,000 of them have to be scrapped. So they go just directly in the trash. Now, they have 7,000 shirts left. And they call Ralph Lauren back and say, hey, we got 7,000 extra shirts. What do you want us to do with them? Ralph Lauren's response is, burn them. Literally, take them to fire and burn them. And the manufacturer said, no problem. And they don't get burnt. And long and short, those were the shirts that I was buying. I didn't know it. Didn't have any idea. It was a very awkward moment because I'm sitting here in Vegas and I'm like, well, what do I do now? I don't want to, I told you guys where I came from. I left that life, never got involved in it, had a good family, grace of God, everything worked out okay, I'm in school. I don't want to do anything that's illegal, but I did enjoy making the money. I'm not selling drugs or anything nobody's getting hurt. These shirts aren't counterfeit, they're actual, quality, legitimate shirts, but they're not shirts that are supposed to be distributed. So I get back to school and I'm in a Twix. And literally it took me about a full day to think it through. And I called my contact in India and I said, Vinny, I'm done. This is it. We're through. And at this point, he's a good friend of mine. We're talking 4, 5, 6 times a day because the orders are just coming in that frequent. Literally, I'm having people who I'm selling to in Germany, in the US, in the islands, in all over Europe. It was pretty ridiculous. I never even, what made it actually kind of cool is I never even saw the shirts. So somebody would call me I had a good client from the Netherlands, and they would contact me and say, look, Stephen, you want 1,000 shirts? I'd say, no problem. Take down his address. He will wire me the money. I would then wire my supplier's part of the money to him, and I would send him the address, and he would ship it directly from India to the Netherlands. So I never even saw it. It wasn't like I was storing this stuff in my room or my Saturn station wagon. It was awkward. It was very, very tough, but I said, look, I'm out. I'm done. Because since I was a kid, I always wanted to start some kind of business. Always wanted to be in control of my own money and finances, and have one of those, make mansions or something. That's what I wanted. And this was my chance. This was my opportunity to do it. And I put it down. And I went through about a year of, at this point, it was kind of funny timing because it's my senior year in college. And so I'm trying to finish up school and trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life now because I wanted to start a business. I had a business. It was going good. It was making great money. But now I can't do that business anymore. So I went through about a year's worth of career depression, and I decided that I would somehow, I didn't go through the depression not doing anything and just drinking and smoking or something. I went through it and I said, look, I'm going to spend all my time focusing on how I can do this again. I did it once, I had a kink in it. I didn't know I had a kink. It wasn't something I got in, with the conscious of it. But I said, look, I'm figured out again. And that's how I got started with the Washington Investment Group, which is the company I still currently operate right now. Washington Investment Group is a real estate company, and we do a lot of things in business, but one of the first things that we got started in is we just bought and sold property. And in a nutshell, use the same exact principles that I use in my import-export company and brought them over into my real estate company. In my import-export company, I didn't have to use any of my own money. I found somebody who was looking to buy, found somebody who was looking to sell, put them together, and made a commission in the middle. And I said, okay, how can I do this with real estate? And we're not talking about becoming like a real estate agent or something. That's something totally different. But just simply, how can I put together people who anxiously want to get rid of their property? So it might be people who are in foreclosure, people who have a property that's in really distressed condition, people who might own a property here in Westchester, but live in Florida, and they just want to get rid of it. And how can I match those people with people like investors, real estate investors who want to buy these properties, fix them up, flip them, like flip that house and all those kind of things. People who want to do that thing. How can I put the two together and make a profit? And that's what I did. And I operated my business that way for over 7 years now. And it's been a very good business, very profitable business. It's afforded me the opportunity, as he mentioned, to go to the White House and be honored as one of the top 100 entrepreneurs under the age of 30. It's a great thing, great day. And ultimately, that's where I am today. And I share that story, and I always like to share it that way, is that, look, and I told you guys when I came in, I'm not something so super special. It wasn't, when I started my import-export company, I did have a little bit of money. I mean, it was like maybe $4,000 or something I had saved up, but I didn't use any of that money to start my business. I just had an idea. And I said, look, there's a problem. What is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur, in its simplest sense, is a problem solver. They find a problem, they solve it. We have this water that I have right here is a problem solver. I had a problem when I came in here. I was thirsty, and I knew I had to talk. And this water solved my problem, and now somebody at Nestle is getting paid to do it. These chairs solve problems, this camera solves problems, this microphone solves problems, Facebook solves problems, it solves the problem of boredom. And what do you do at red lights now? You pull out your phone and you go on Facebook. You shouldn't do that, but it solves a problem. And that's all an entrepreneur is a problem solver. And it's not about money. It's not about, you have to have all this money and the right connections and things like that. I didn't have really any money, and I surely didn't have the right connections. I mean, at all. And so I say that to say, I just like to come and speak at colleges, especially here at Westchester. I speak at colleges all around the country. Next month I'm speaking at Liberty University in West Virginia. I've never been in West Virginia before, but they asked me to come and speak. But especially here at Westchester, it means something really special to me because this is where it all began. I mean, all these same professors are even here. Dr. Benson's here, everything. And I say that to say, if any of you do have any interest whatsoever in becoming an entrepreneur, starting your own business, please don't let any of these outside circumstances stop your dreams from happening. People say to me this day, as soon as I tell them I'm in real estate, they're like, oh man, you okay? You're eating? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm okay. But the media tries to just feed that to everyone, that every real estate is doing horrible. No, what's happening in real estate is it's called a correction. It's like, there was too much money being lent out to borrowers who probably shouldn't have received all those monies and so forth, and now the market is just correcting itself. And this is actually one of the best times to get involved in real estate since probably about 1982, since our last huge market crash. And so I say that to say, whether it's real estate that you're interested in, or whether you want to start a company selling video games or whatever it is, the world is open to you. There's a book that I was reading, and they talked about a day that's going to come for us all, or could come for us all. And that day is the day when you wish that you had always done what you've always thought about doing. And that would be a horrible day. It would be horrible to be, 70, 80 years old, and now you physically can't can't start that business or take that trip to, out of the country or whatever the case is, take a safari or something. The day is going to come where that's going to happen, or that could happen, and you don't want that day to happen. I mean, and myself, I started my own business, But there's several other goals that I want to do that I haven't done, but I think about that day all the time. I mean, think about it. We're flying in the air now. You've got the Wright brothers, and they created airplanes, and we have Facebook, and we have all these different kinds of technologies and so forth. I mean, these people weren't some just, have like a third eye or something like that. I mean, they're just people who had ideas just like you all have, and they stepped out on them. I mean, even artists. I'm sure many of us can think of artists who we don't even like, singers who we say, look, they can't really sing. But guess what? Somebody's writing them a check to sing, and we're just sitting here in our seats criticizing them because they actually went out there and made it happen. And one of the biggest dangers, especially for college students that I see, and that I fear for you guys on, is many of you will say, I want to start a business, I want to become an entrepreneur, I want to do something on my own, but I'm going to go to work this job first, get some experience, do all these different things, and then after that, then I'll go out and start my business. Well, that is an avenue, that is a path, but it's not a straight path. See, what happens is you go out and you graduate Westchester, and then you go and you work at Vanguard or wherever it is, and then, if you're a young man, you meet a nice special young lady, or if a young lady meet a charming young man, and then you guys get married, and then you have children, and then all these things happen, and now you're like, yeah, I want to start my business. But you're like, but hold on, I got 3 mouths to feed. I can't afford for a financial hiccup to take place, because that's what happened with me. I did have a financial hiccup in my business, but fortunately, I was like 21 at the time with no kids, wasn't married, and I was able to recover. But the danger is sometimes you'll become 34, 35, 36. Now you have a $2,700 a month mortgage, and your mortgage payment is reliant on you making the money that you make at your job, and you can't not make it, because if you don't make it, the bank will take your house. And now you're in a jam. And so I say that to say, my personal belief, and I apologize against anybody else whose belief is contrary to this, my personal belief is, you have the opportunity right now, you live in a country full of opportunities. One of the things that I utilize in my business right now is my actual admin assistant. I've never physically met her before in my life. She lives in the Philippines. She works for me. She's a virtual assistant. I pay her virtually. She has my Skype account. She has my PayPal account number. She has probably way too much information that I should probably give somebody who lives totally across the world. But I say that to say, they don't have as many opportunities as we have. They can't just run out there and say, look, we want to start a business, or we want to, research this. You mentioned a facility you guys have called Rework or something like that. I didn't even have that when I was there. I wish I would have. It would have been a lot better than working out of my dorm room. But I say that all to say, guys, if entrepreneurship is a path that you're considering, by all means, give it a shot. At the end of the day, we're all going to become entrepreneurs anyway. And you're saying like, okay, look, this guy Steven something's off. I was with him all the way up to here, but I'm not going to become an entrepreneur. But he just told me that we're all going to become an entrepreneur anyway. Well, no, you are. When you work for someone else, I sell real estate. I sell products. But you sell service. You sell your service for those who work for Westchester University. You sell your service to Westchester University. You sell. It's just different. When you sell under a normal job circumstance, you sell typically at a wholesale rate, versus when I sell my products or service, I sell at a retail rate. So, I market my products, I market my real estate, I market my some of the other little bit more sophisticated things we do in my business. We market those products. You market your product, your service. Come, with a job resume, come with a nice, suit on, shiny shoes. Say that to say, at the end of the day, we're all going to be selling a service or a product at some point and at some time. And so I encourage many of you who do want to take that leap into entrepreneurship, by all means take it. Give it a shot, especially now. Because if you decide, look, hey, for me, it's not what I want to do. There's been many days where I'm like, look, maybe I just need to teach on a campus or something somewhere. I'm tired of this. But fortunately, I've had more good days than bad days, and I'm still in the game. And again, I encourage as many of you who want to join me in that. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you. Thank you so much. And what I want to do, if it's okay with Dr. Zimmerman, just open it up now for just questions. I'd be happy to answer, or comments, or what have you. This is an opportunity. When I was at Westchester, nobody came and talked to me about starting their own business or so forth. So if there's anybody who has any questions, simply throw your hand up, stand up. That's okay with the cameraman, and we'll talk. Stand up. What's your name?
Mark.
Hey, Mark.
All right. So you're saying to go right into entrepreneurship once you're out of school, right? Or not like right away.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to get into it before you get bogged down with like having kids and like having other financial responsibilities. But how do you balance that with already having like debt from school? Because I'm gonna come out with like $20,000 in debt, maybe. So how do you do that with starting your business?
That's a great question. And for those who didn't hear, his question was, how do you balance coming out of school with debt, with all these different things, and starting a business? Now, here's a couple of sides. I jumped all the way in. It was just my personality type. I just jumped all the way in, so I want to start a business, I'm in. But there's also part-time businesses. For example, right now, I am, as you mentioned, bogged down. I have a wife, I have 3 children, and so it's like, yeah, my time is very limited. And so now for me to have had a job and my wife and 3 children and a business, it might be a little bit challenging. But I say that to say, if you weren't the type, and you say, look, I don't really feel comfortable just jumping all the way in, by all means, you can start a part-time business. Is there something in particular that you're interested in? I'm curious. Okay, no, that's okay. Yeah, you can start on a part-time basis or so forth. And again, I've switched companies. When I got my import-export business, it took me maybe about 3 months before I started turning a profit. When I got to my real estate business, to your point, it took me about a year before I could. Part of it was probably the depression, and the other part was just doing my research, doing my homework. And again, and I hope I didn't breeze over this too quickly. No, it's not just jumping out there and saying, look, I want to start a car wash, and I'm going to determine to start one. No, there's a lot of research. There's a lot of research and homework that you need to do on your own. And we're not talking about red tape stuff. I hear a lot of entrepreneurs talk about, well, should I still start an LLC first? Or should I start a company or an S-Corp or all those things? Those things aren't that important because they just stop you from starting. They're just like excuses. You say, well, I can't do that because I don't have an S-Corp. No, go out there, unless you're trying to open up a medical practice or something. Like, nobody's going to come down on you for starting a small art gallery from your living room without having an S-Corp or something to that effect. So get out there, start making some money. But the key is definitely research. I brushed over that point. When I got to my real estate business, I became a stalker. And I found anybody and everybody who was involved in real estate to some capacity of what I was looking to do. And I would literally darn near stalk them. And I would ask them questions, and I would send them emails, and I would go to networking events where they were, and I would go to seminars where they were. I would do anything and everything I could to learn so that I would be able to be successful in a business. Because success leaves clues, and you just got to follow. You don't want to recreate the wheel. The wheel's already here. You just want to find somebody who's doing something, either exactly what you're doing or something very similar, and do like a cross-platform and take it from there. Thanks for the question, by the way. Dr. Benson.
Stephen, why did you choose franchising? Did you ever think of that or investigate that?
Yes, I actually, we still look into it some. I don't have any qualms with doing a franchise at all. The only issue with a franchise is that you need, in most cases, you need startup money. And so now, granted, money isn't really that big of a problem either. We all say it is, and we all want it to be, because it's a great excuse. We say, look, I don't have the money, so that's my excuse for not doing it. No, you can still get involved in business without having any money. You will have to have money, it just doesn't have to necessarily be your money. Funny story, I had a professor here at Westchester University who actually, when I told him about my real estate investment company, about me wanting to start one, granted, I'm just a student here, I had just, for all intent, I guess I didn't fail out of my old business, but I stopped my old business, so I'm not in business anymore. I pitched my idea to him. He took me out to dinner with two of his business partners, and we were about to go into business together. So, right here on campus. So I said to say, yeah, it's, the opportunities are out here. It's just a matter for us to take them. Question.
When you found out that your t-shirt business was in the gray, as you put it, did you ever try to contact a lawyer and see if you actually had any kind of criminal liability in your business, or try to continue it that way? Or
Yeah, that's a good question. Fortunately, once I found out, I guess it was just the grace of God, I found out that the business was in the gray, and I did my research, found out if there was any way I could make it righteous, if you will, and there was one way, but I would have to purchase in like millions of dollars worth of quantity every month, and I didn't have the customer base for that, so I got out. But yeah, I tried everything I could to figure out a way to stay in the business. There were some ways that I could have, but I didn't want to be involved in anything even remotely gray. So I said, you know what, I'm out. And hard decision to make, but sometimes you have to make those as an entrepreneur. There was a couple other questions. Question?
My name is Sana.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Was your business impacted in 2008 by economic crisis in the world?
Say that one more time, I'm sorry.
Was your business impacted by the economic crisis in 2008, 2007?
Yes, great question. In 2008, the real estate market definitely took a big correction as far as the U.S. especially. In our particular neck of the woods, there was some level of correction, but it wasn't as bad as like Vegas, for example. I mean, in Vegas you got properties that were worth $300,000 in 2008 that are worth like 70 now, and 100 and 100,000 now, and things like that. So yeah, we immediately, there was a property, it was actually a property I own right now that I kept as a rental property. I didn't want to keep it at all. I had no intention. The goal was to buy it, rehab it, and flip it, and I couldn't flip it because I had actually acquired debt on that property. I took out a first position mortgage on that house, and my mortgage was greater than what I could sell the house for. So yeah, we were impacted negatively in that sense, but for every negative, there's oftentimes opportunities. See, chaos is one of the greatest things for an entrepreneur. If you ever find a chaotic situation, there's probably a huge opportunity to make money there. And the chaos happened. Other people were in the exact same situation as me. They couldn't get out of their properties and so forth. And so what happened is, before you had maybe this many investors looking to buy property in the areas that I was buying property in, and then as the months went by, it just dwindled, and now you're working with significantly less competition. I mean, there were times where I would put an offer on a property, and there might be 3 or 4 other people putting in an offer with me. Now when I put in an offer on a property, sometimes the homeowner's like, thank you. You know, there was nobody else. So I say that to say, with some of the tragedy that came, there was also great opportunity, and opportunity by far outweighed the issues that came with it. Answer the question? Great. Question.
My name is Brian.
Hey, Brian.
I have 2 questions. First of all, how did you manage being a student and running a business? I mean, being a student is learning nothing itself. And then my second question, you were saying you were pulling in like 15, 24K a month. What were you doing with that cash? Were you making it work for you? Were you sitting on it? Were you paying back loans? I'm just curious.
Yeah, great question. To sum it up, the question was, what was I doing? How did I maintain being a student and being an entrepreneur? And then the second part of his question was, what did I do with the money, ultimately? To answer the first part of the question, it's like a student athlete. It's the way I kind of looked at myself. It's like you have student athletes, you got 2 different kinds of student athletes. You got the one kind, where you just kind of cheat off other people and look at the papers and so forth. But then you have the other student athletes that are like, look, I'm focused. I know I'm here to be an athlete, but I'm also here to be a student. And you just make it work. You make it, you make it happen. And so I would literally oftentimes be in the basement of the library, studying and doing my work. So I'll be studying, and I'll have my cell phone right there, and because I was in the basement, I'd kind of sneak away in the corner and answer a call or something if need be. But no, I was by all means focusing on my work. I mean, if you have Dr. Benson, you gotta focus on your work in order to get out of here. So yeah, no, you just do what you have to do. I don't mean to say it so it's like it's such an easy task. It wasn't. It was hard, but you have to do what you have to do. And I knew that the sooner I got out of school, the more time I could focus into my business. So that's how I did that. What I did with the money, I didn't make it work for me. Honestly, I had never made any money like that before. I didn't firsthand know anybody who was making any kind of money like that before. And so, I just said, okay, well, I guess I just hold on to it. And that's literally all I was doing at the time. I just held on to it, put it in the bank, and just, prayed that it would be okay. And, the other side of it is, you make 6 digits and you're paying a 5-digit tax bill. So yeah, taxes were pretty hefty. I was brand new into business. I didn't know, the way I should have structured things and had, to make my tax obligation better and so forth. So I paid a lot of taxes in my first couple of years. But yeah, no, I pretty much held on to the money, and it worked out good because during that 1-year depression that I had after I had to put the business down, I wasn't depressed and broke. I was just depressed. So, so it makes it a little bit better. Answer your question? Any other questions?
My name's Ed.
Hey, Ed.
So I know that your operations at your dorm room were relatively small in comparison. So did you find that this material we were learning in class related to anything that you did, or?
I'll answer that outside of the door. You know what? I'll put it this way. At first it didn't, or at least I thought it didn't. Here's one thing, if nothing else, that I can say that I did learn from the classroom that I took into business. In most cases, the business I do, I don't have to dress like this. I'm dressing in like cargo shorts and flip-flops, and things like that. But there are times where, for example, I have outside investors who use their retirement funds, their 401ks. It's another secret I'm handing out to you guys. I didn't know you could do this. There's opportunities for a parent, for example, or an aunt or an uncle who has an IRA or 401k or whatever the case is, to transfer their funds into a self-directed IRA. And if you guys don't know what that is, we can talk outside, but to transfer their funds into a self-directed IRA and then allow them to invest their retirement income into a business, to your business. So you say, look, how do I get funding? I don't qualify for a bank loan, I don't qualify for whatever. Do you qualify to your uncle? And if you do, there's an opportunity. But to answer the question, sorry to take it around Robin, to answer the question, I learned a lot of professionalism from the school and how to transition from, again, because I didn't see a whole lot of that growing up. I mean, my mother, she went to college and she worked just like a managerial position at her job, but it wasn't anything executive level or anything of, dealing in some of the type of business meetings that I had to deal in. And so after doing presentations for, like I said, Dr. Benson's class, or some of my marketing classes and so forth, there were a lot of skill sets that I learned from that. And even some lingo. Most times I just talk like, hey, what's up, it's cool. But then when I'm meeting with a banker, you can't quite talk like that. And so, you learn, you can't write papers like that. So you learn how to transition and so forth, and so forth. So those were like some of the biggest things. But to answer the question honestly, did some of the corporate finance and things like that, it just didn't apply in my business. It wasn't that big. We weren't talking about numbers in the millions and the billions. So it didn't apply in that sense. But like I said, for me personally, a lot of the professionalism and presentation skills absolutely helped out quite a bit.
Would you be willing to talk about some ideas that you have on the horizon?
Yes. Okay, let's talk about something. Before I go there, last time I was here, I was speaking to the MBA class, and we talked about a company that I had that I started, again, with my contact from India. It was a hair company. So it's like, okay, what the heck are you doing dealing in hair? So in India, there's a sacrifice that they do for their religion, where they, like once a year, they cut off their hair. And that's it, they cut the hair off. And probably about 30 years ago, they would use it for a few different purposes. One, oftentimes they would just trash the hair. They didn't trash the hair. You know how we use feathers in our mattresses and pillows and things like that? I was told that in mattresses they would actually put human hair, I guess, to kind of make it soft or something. And but for the last, I guess, about 2 decades, they've used that hair to in the fashion world. And so you see a lot of like Jennifer Aniston, Beyonce, Rihanna, a lot of your different celebrities who just have this beautiful, long, luscious hair, and it's typically hair extensions. And so we were importing in hair extensions from India, and we were doing pretty good with it. We built up a nice clientele and so forth, but I thought that that business was just a commodity business. So I thought that it was like, okay, I'm dealing in hair, or I could be dealing in selling wood, or like carpet, or something. I thought it was just a commodity, but then it turned out that you had to kind of be like a fashionista or something to do it, and it wasn't really my thing. So I sold my position in the company back to my partner in India. He's still doing the business, but it wasn't really my thing. So I say that to say, not every idea works. That one didn't. It worked okay, but it wasn't really for me. One of the avenues that I'm trying to get into now, and this is a huge opportunity for you guys, is actually doing some level of blogging and doing, is anybody familiar with affiliate marketing? Does that term ring a bell to anybody in here? Oh guys, it should ring a bell to somebody in here. Affiliate marketing is, how can I put it simple? To put it simple, it's, I have a course, for example, that teaches people how to buy and sell real estate. I can get, what's your name again, my friend?
Mike.
Mike. I can get Mike, I say, Mike, look, if you find anybody who's willing to sell my course in real estate, who's willing to purchase my course in real estate, I will give you a certain percentage of the course proceeds. 30%, 40%, whatever. Mike might say to himself, okay, look, I need to figure out a way that I can get everybody's email address in this room so that I can email them and say, hey, it's Mike, go to Westchester, we know each other, we're cool, look, it's a great new course out, this guy Steve Washington, he's the best guy around, listen to this free intro video. If they buy the course, Mike gets a piece of it. Because I've had a pretty decent amount of national recognition and opportunities, I'm constantly speaking at different places, I've been looking into starting, doing some education side of what I do. I'm explaining to people how I've done entrepreneurship and so forth, how I've done a real estate business, how I've done my import-export business, because although my product was wrong in the import-export business, you can just substitute it out with anything else. You can import in iPhone covers or whatever. You can still do that. Opportunities are still there. So that's probably one of the next things on the horizon, is to do an education piece of it. And that one I actually have a little bit of kind of deep passion about, because I didn't get paid for this like today. I'm here at my own, because I want to be here. And so I want to be able to help other people who do want to become an entrepreneur, kind of make that road that much easier for them if I can. So that's kind of one of the next projects that's on the horizon. So that's what we do. Again, thank you guys so much for the opportunity to be here. I'll still be hanging around if there's any questions.